So obviously other things we do within Sky News, we export lots of content to our radio platforms. We've got large screens around the UK with sort of digital signage on it that we export news clips in particular formats, and we syndicate a lot of our content to not only our website but to other websites in the UK that pay for that service. So the ability to get that content quickly out of that, and we use another product off the back of that called Dayport. So EVS exports using XT Access into a particular format. Dayport picks it up and then delivers it out to all our clients. Sorry, I think they're called Ardetto now.
We use a web API, a SOAP API for the metadata, for example. So Dayport can poll the information directly from our main database. They can read all the metadata information associated with that clip, whether it's meant to go to a billboard or whether it's for the website. They just poll our database. So everything is set by the user in the front end. They click send to Dayport, and the file is transferred in the correct, say, H.264 or MP4 format, and then Dayport will see the file. There's no metadata with it, so they poll our database and see, right, this file is for the billboard, or this file is for the Times.
Great. Yeah. Right, so this is a bit of an overview of what we've installed at Austerley. So I guess the centre of our system is the IP-directed database, of which it's highly available, highly redundant, and that's the core. So that allows all of these different parts of the system to browse what assets are available. So on the front end, we've got XT2s, which look after the ingest of HD material, and they've got an attached amount of online storage there.
So we have the XS ingest servers, which are just purely configured as ingest. So we have, I think, seven ingest servers, and yeah, so 7 ingest. So we've got 22 ingest via XS and 2 for each XT2. The XT2s are used for turnaround, so very much a standard EVS LSM operation where you might see something, you want to time delay it. I believe you refer to it as time slip, where a feed is coming in, we just want to pause it, wait for the break to finish, and roll with that live feed. They're used for very tight turnaround, clipping things up, getting them to air very quickly. For the general newsroom, we ingest through the XS server. From the XS, we use the XL2 server, which creates a browse copy. Now that's instant access browse, so certain users, we decided not to let every user have access to it, but certain users can view an instant copy of the low res. Other users, the bulk of the newsroom, if you like, only view something when it's been scheduled, when it's had the metadata added, when it's been made available to the newsroom. It's published to the newsroom.
So the XL2s, for example, we've got 16 craft edit suites. They look at the high-res proxy or the higher-res proxy version, which allows them to see the 12 or 24-hour record train of whatever's gone into any of those inputs. So if someone in our ingest department hadn't clipped something up at the time it was coming in, anyone in any of the edit suites can roll back on any of our 16 ingest chains, have a look at something, right, here's something we missed at 10 o'clock this morning, mark it in, mark it out, then that clip's available. So that expands that availability of that function right across our edit suites, not only in the ingest area.
The advantage of that is that often you might have a live feed coming in where someone is doing many takes trying to get the piece to camera correct. All we need to save is the correct part, the correct piece to camera. We can ingest everything into the server, and the only bit that we make available to the newsroom is the correct take, because we don't want to store that on the SAN and waste valuable space of a potentially an hour-long feed where we only need 10 minutes, for example. So we have 2 different workflows. If it's a feed coming in, we can stream the whole thing and put it on the SAN and make it available to everyone instantly. If it's a piece to camera that's not needed as quickly, that they're doing many takes trying to get right, we just save what we need and transfer that.
So there's a material that's online, so that's generally this area here. That's the high-res transport stream side of it. If the second someone in ingest marks an in point, it uses the XT Access devices here to create a copy of that on the SAN. So that's in a QuickTime wrapper or .mov reference file that allows the Final Cut Pro suites to actually access those growing files. So once again, our craft edit suites can look at those files 4 or 5 seconds after they've come in. Then that's also available for our Exedio Clean Edit, and we use Exedio where it's probably more of a journalist operating, but they need more edit functions. So our active and online teams, if they wanted to burn in a super of something, they necessarily wouldn't need a Final Cut Pro to do that. They'd go and use Clean Edit, which is slightly easier for them to operate, and it sits on their desktop and they can use email and all the sort of same things on the same machine. IP director, once again, 200 of them scattered around the newsroom. Those guys, the XT Access that you see down below also makes the proxy version which sits on the SAN. The IP directors use that 800K proxy so that they can look at any published pieces, any marked in, marked out clips that have come in through the ingest system. So a craft edit has been made either via an IP director, via the Final Cut Pro system, or via Clean Edit. It is then a publish is done. So depending which application you're using, I'll stick with Final Cut Pro. You go to export the program, export the sequence. You then have a pop-up box, which is a widget that we've made within Apple's OS X application that allows you to create an asset name, and that asset name is a unique number that's to do with that story. So if we're doing an Obama press conference, it'll be P for package. It's a 6-digit number, which is the time of day that you've created it, followed by a 2-letter indication for the days of the week, so Tuesday TU, followed by Obama press conference 1700 lead package or whatever. So that's your unique asset number. That asset number becomes the name of your sequence. That sequence then goes into the IP director database, and that's what you drop within iNews into the rundown, which automatically populates your playlist for putting that content to air. So it's an end-to-end workflow for us, which was very important that we got right, because as a news channel, if you don't get that right, it's a very difficult world to be in.
I think for your tracking of assets, your unique naming convention and your unicity of things like material IDs is very, very important. So that was a big challenge for EVS, was to work out. We have our own internal unique IDs, but we needed to also create a unique ID that was legible by Sky's further systems down the line, such as the automation systems, the iNews and asset management for like RDOM and so on.
So once a project or a bit of media is published to the SAN, it's conformed, and the XT Access will then convert it to a transport stream file that goes on the playout server. So we've got a main and a backup playout servers, and the way Sky News works, we've got a gallery that's just dedicated to Sky News, rolling news 24/7. We've got one dedicated to the terrestrial service in the UK for Channel 5 as well. So we've got main and backup playout servers for those ones, and then in our ingest playout area, we've also got additional playout servers if everything else goes wrong, which, touch wood, to this day it hasn't yet. So each gallery has 6 playout channels, which is split across multiple servers, and it's under the control of the another product that EVS have created for us, which is called the production playlist, and we'll get to some screen grabs of that a bit later. But it allows A, B, C, D sort of sequenced and ripple play out across 4 channels, so that if you're in a news channel, and you can have all your packages lined up for sequential play out by the play out operator. And that integrates as soon as a change is made within iNews. Obviously that ripples through unless there's certain conditions aren't met, i.e. it's not playing or it's not in the gate ready to go out. Something else that was very important when we were looking at this system was integration with external sites. So we've got a central London operation, which is at Millbank, which we're in the process of at the moment installing an EVS system that'll be tightly integrated with what we're doing at Austerley. So users that are in our central London facility can browse any content at Austerley and vice versa, and you could publish from any location to any location. So a Millbank user could publish to Austerley, an Austerley location could publish to Millbank, and we've done the same in the process of doing the same in Washington DC and Jerusalem. And obviously those locations, you've got considerations about WAN acceleration and making sure that you can move big files around in a hurry if you need to, which has its own challenges as well.